idea for the story, and we always meant to do this, and I actually had we were both busy on other things, and we always meant to do this film, and part of it is not just like we've made a promise to make a third film, but also it's kind of making a promise to ourselves to make a third film. But our executive producer, who was the person who kind of basically gave us our career, Eric Fellner, was diagnosed with cancer like in 2011, and as soon as we found that out, like we had already been planning to write, but then we literally started writing the next week, because we just thought, I just thought, if anything terrible happened, I would always regret it that like we did make it on our promise and that he never saw the third film, which he wanted to see as much as you guys. So it was actually, the good news is that he's in perfect health and he's seen the movie and loved the movie. We would have made the film anyway, but it did kind of like, you know, there's a lot of stuff in the film that's about kind of like, you know, actually sort of like acting on something whilst you've still got time, and you know, when something like that happens to you, it makes you realise what's really important, and it just sort of like, we think we have to make this film for him apart from anybody else. But you know, so we actually then started writing immediately, and I even put, like, I was doing this Marvel movie and I put it on the back burner.
This Marvel movie. Wait for applause.
And I put it on the back burner because this suddenly became a lot more important.
What movie is it?
Iron Man 17.
Anyway, so that's the story basically. So that's why I mean, like I said, we wanted to do it anyway, but it became something a lot more sort of personal, and there became other elements to it that were really important.
Well, I was working. We were doing stuff. Well, I don't know that. We were doing stuff while we were writing. We were still sort of coming down from other projects. I was working on something and working with Edgar on the days I wasn't working on that, and you know, we just found time basically. We went away and did other.
When you say something, you mean Star Trek Into Something.
But yeah, we finished doing our separate projects. We always wanted to go away and what?
So it's got a surprise for you.
I have a big apology to make. I'm going to do it now. Simon doesn't know this is happening. 8 months ago, sadly, I missed the premiere of Star Trek Into Darkness because I was working hard and I had a baby, and I just missed it, you know, and I regret it, and I never got the chance to see it. And I think it kind of...
Thank you for coming.
It drove a little wedge in between Simon and I. And I'd just like to say publicly...
The Mission Impossible one as well.
I'd like to say publicly right now that I spent the afternoon watching Star Trek Into Darkness. And I loved it. Thanks, buddy. I probably won't watch Mission Impossible.
Baby steps, baby steps.
Well, Edgar, you mentioned at the beginning of the film, or before the film, that this is a bit, well, the beginning of the film is a little bit autobiographical, and obviously there's many references to some goth action in there, and Sisters of Mercy and whatnot. Can you tell me the story, the backstory to the Sisters of Mercy angle?
Well, Simon's the ex-goth, so he can tell you about that.
There we go.
That's all mine. I was a big goth when I was younger, and the Sisters of Mercy were my favourite band. Actually, the Sisters of Mercy, as was before '85 when they split up the first time, they reformed. He reformed with Patricia from the Gun Club, and that's when they did This Corrosion and the Floodland album, which for me is later Sisters. You know, it's not pure Sisters, but First and Last and Always, the album featured the classic track Marianne, is my big favourite. And I think Gary would have been a Sisters purist, but just to have any kind of Sisters in my life was a good thing. So I just wanted to pay tribute to Andrew Eldritch and the guys, and make Gary a Sisters fan. And I also like the idea of him having a tattoo that's the same as the thing on his t-shirt.
Can we see it?
I don't have it anymore, but my stomach looks the same.
An interesting trivia fact is Simon actually edits the Sisters of Mercy's Wikipedia page.
And a fanzine called Have Mercy. I do, really.
I mean, I said in the introduction about the rest of it being inspired by this pub crawl, but another thing that factored into it is that me and Simon are both from small towns, and Hot Fuzz was shot in my hometown, so that's where I shot that movie. So I had that experience of going back to my hometown, and one thing that happened to Hot Fuzz, a tiny thing that happened was another seed to the story of this, is that the town in Hot Fuzz is supposed to be really idyllic and pastoral and beautiful and timeless. And yet when we shot there, there's that scene where Simon's riding up the street on the horse. There's a great big Starbucks in the middle of the street, and I digitally erased it because it didn't seem like it would belong in that town. So, and it hadn't been there when I used to live there, obviously, or like even like 2 years before. So things like that started to kind of like weigh on me in terms of this idea of coming back to your hometown. It's like, oh, it isn't the nostalgic haven that I remember. It's becoming like another mini London. So that thing, and all the stuff in the movie about the kind of the pubs changing, that's all completely happening everywhere like a virus. Just the same chalk, handwritten chalk menus that are printed in the factory. So we put a lot of personal experience into the movie, as you can probably see.